class where this is all we do, then I will see if we can set that up. Did you guys have good Thanksgiving? Excellent. Did you guys do anything super fun, or was there anything that was just surprisingly gross?
Me and my family just went bowling the day after.
Well, that's pretty awesome. My kids on midnight Friday morning, they went out for Black Friday sales. They love doing that. I just think that that is just atrociously awful. They they really like it for some reason. And we had Thursday we had a dinner with my wife's son and his family, and that was really good. His wife loves mashed potatoes, and that's one thing she can make. So we did turkey with bacon on top of it, which is like heavenly. Um, I don't know if there's very many things that bacon can ruin. And then we had lots of gravy, and we had his wife's mashed potatoes. So that was really good. Then the next day, my kids got back from their ferocious um, Black Friday early morning thing, and they did like everything you could think of for, well, not everything you could think of, but they had like 8 or 9 different sides that were really good. There was one that was thinly sliced potatoes and sweet potatoes layered on top of each other with lots of cream, and holy crap, that was good. And then her husband, who was vegetarian until earlier this year, he made the stuffing, which had cornbread and yams and ham in it, and it was, wow, it was super tasty. We all Everybody ate until we had to roll into the living room and relax for a bit, and then we went on with our day. How about you, Alex? New baby throwing up everywhere?
No, not really, surprisingly. We
Wow,
just
that's
went shooting and ate.
that sounds really good. Because I think one of the nice things about having a brand new baby over Thanksgiving is to see kind of count how many people they throw up on, and I think that's out of all the relatives. Uh, Two of my daughters were born in in September, and one in August, and so they were only a couple months old for Thanksgiving, and it was, you could tell right away who had freshly cleaned clothes and a new suit because it had baby barf all over it. It was awesome. That was great. Well, I sent out the last of the project modules. I had some problems yesterday, so I sent it out today, and it's going to be the last of the modules. And I wanted to tell you guys kind of a secret. Um, Everything has to technically be due like on the 9th, but um, I don't know how busy everybody is. I'm thinking we'll just have everything due at the end of finals, and I think that would be great. What I would really like though is to have at least several things up on our discussion board for the final projects by the time of our final, so we can talk about it. Let's see, and our final is, let's see if I can find that. Our final is not actually on a specific day, but I would like that Tuesday, whoever can meet, let's meet, and we'll kind of talk about stuff that we see on the discussion board. And everybody who is able to meet that Tuesday afternoon, and I think that that is the 13th. So Friday the 13th on a Tuesday this month. It's in December. That's awesome. But whoever can will get some extra credit for meeting. And I'll talk through what the final actually is. It's 4 short reflection questions, and then a quiz. That's open book, and that's what it is. And so everything will be due that Friday at midnight. All right. So technically everything has to be due on the 9th, but I want to give everybody as much time as possible. And if you need more time, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's about as far as we can go. Uh, the final project, there were a couple people that turned in the brainstorming things were about stuff that they wanted to do that was very much um, centered around their life here in Utah or in neighboring states. And I think while that can inform stuff, it one do you remember what one of the principal aspects of the final project? You know why we learned about the Mali Kingdom and everything. What is the big thing about that final project that makes it unique? It's making something that should have existed in the old Mali Empire that did not. So, something from your experience, it could be you can use any medium you want to. I've actually had somebody make a mannequin out of clothes that they got from DI, and they made a whole thing out of that. That was really kind of a cool thing. Somebody else made furniture out of cardboard. I've seen that before. Um, I think I talked about. Did I talk with you guys about the paper pillows? Okay, yeah, where you just that's something else that you can make. Other people have done. You can make air dry clay, following a recipe on YouTube, just with stuff you get in your kitchen, and you can modify. Like if you have, for guys, they're called action figures, but if you have a doll that you want to modify to make it look like a doll that a kid in the Mali Kingdom would have played with, or action figures they would have used, maybe an action figure of Emperor Sunjata, which that might be kind of cool. But you can use the air dry clay, like salt clay, where you make with basically salt and flour from your kitchen. Put that around a doll with articulated joints, and after it dries, paint it. That would be a really interesting thing to do. So there's lots of different kinds of stuff that you could do. Um, Although I would not suggest that an interesting idea to think about, if you could get it to work legally, would be what would graffiti look like in the Mali Kingdom? And in that case, what you may have to do is get some blown up photos of uh, buildings from that era, and then use some paint tools and see, what kind of slogans would they do, what kind of designs would they do, and do that in Photoshop. That would be a pretty cool thing. So there's some really interesting ideas. Um, Making a model of a childhood home wouldn't really count unless you were doing it and then altered the architecture of your home in this model so that it looked like Molinese architecture. That could be really cool. You see what I'm saying? Those kinds of things. Paintings, you guys can do paintings if you want. Um, you guys could do uh, recipes. I've had people adjust family recipes before and make it like, what would they have access to, what kind of foods and stuff. Sometimes it turned out interesting. Um, Most of the times it was spectacularly awful, but there's lots of different things that you can do. But what is important about this is the time element. The time element is crucial. So it's 3 hours of research and then 9 hours of doing. And that's the most you can do. A little bit. If you do more than that, you'll get extra credit. But for example, that would work is if you wanted to do foodstuffs out of stuff that you already had in your refrigerator, you would research Mali inspired. What are the countries that the old Mali Empire is now? Find recipes there throughout them. What do you have in your home that where you could make a recipe like that? And combine it with something that you work with. Since the Mali Empire was Muslim, they probably would not have used pigs at all. Let's say you wanted to do a Molinese baked chicken with bacon on it. That would be something that they needed there for the 17 Christians that lived in the empire, and that's something that you could adjust with or adapt. And then in that case, the 3 hours would be the research for that, looking at it. And then the 9 hours would be going to the store and getting whatever other ingredients you need, um, trying out different things, having people taste them and see what you need to do to adjust it. And so by the time you get done with something that people like and can enjoy, then you would have spent 9 hours playing with different things, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, that kind of a thing. If you're making something 3D, Same kind of rule applies: 3 hours of research, 9 hours of doing. And that's one of the reasons on the assignment it says it's due next Friday at midnight. But I want you guys just to spend as much time on this as you can. And if it takes until the 16th at the end of finals, then that's totally fine. All right. That makes sense to everybody? Okay. And over my happy weekend was spent in between um, eating really good food. I graded everything. So as of Friday, everything that was turned in was graded. That was due before. Stuff that was due on the 27th was not graded, and I'll work on that this week. So everything that was turned in by Friday afternoon was graded. So everybody should know about where they are. Um, and I'll continue to put zeros in for things that haven't been turned in, just so Canvas can remind you, hey, there's something to turn in. And a couple people have asked, well, I don't know if I'm going to have time to get everything done. What I would recommend is go through first, find the simplest things to do, like watch all the videos and get points for each of those. Next, look for the high point value things and do those. And then do everything else that you can. But that would be the two ways that I would attack that would be first, easy, and second, high point value. And people that have been able to do stuff all along have been doing really well. There's a number of athletes that I know it's a struggle with your schedule to do with their schedule to do things. But what's interesting is that several of the athletes will do a bunch of assignments all at once, and then I won't hear from them for a little while. Then they'll do a bunch of assignments again. So I'm guessing that that's when they're home and able to work on stuff. And I think that that's a really good way to do it. And if you need more time, let me know. But I think doing this so that everything is due on the last day of finals, I think will be a good way to approach this. And I'll make the our final as simple as possible, so it's not a stress for people. So, do you have any questions, Alex? Do you have any questions? All
Nope.
right. Can you guys think of any questions that other students might have? Do you know what you're going to be doing for your project? Because that's another thing I want to stress. If you have a good idea, that's great. If you're still kind of up in the air, wondering what to do, um, drop a line, and either we'll talk over email or we can do a private Zoom call. Sorry, Teams call, um, so we can talk about it. Whatever we need to do. Because I want to be fun and creative, but it also needs to show what you've been doing for the whole semester. And the most important elements of this semester have been tools of artistic critique, how you can apply that to things, um, being able to use those tools to identify markers of art periods, for example, and things that identify art to a specific culture. And then also being able to uh, control the elements of art to a point where you are confident with your ability to express yourself. In this module, I say very clearly that the skill level is not the thing that gets you the A level grade. Because everybody's taking an introduction to art class, because for the most part, you guys are not professional artists, and I don't expect you to be, but I do expect something that is done to the best of a person's ability. So, for example, using things like glue as opposed to sticky tack, that kind of a thing, making something so it looks like it's permanent as opposed to something that looks like um, it's intended to fall apart in a minute. It could be really cool if you wanted to do this. What would outdoor art of the old Mali, what would Andy Goldsworthy's art look like if it was done in the old Mali Empire? That'd be something really interesting. He does a lot of work with architectural themes, And there's some really distinctive architectural forms that were used during the old Mali Empire that could be adapted to an Andy Goldsworthy outdoor kind of art. What if you wanted to, direct a couple friends to build a Molinese snow fort? That's definitely something that they did not have that they would have needed, 700 years ago. So just some stuff to think about. Now, if you guys don't have any, are you sure you don't have any questions or anything like that that I can help you with? What do you? I would like each of you to give me a question that you think somebody else in the class might ask if they were here. One thing I can think of is how big does this thing have to be? Well, I think it needs to be big enough to justify spending the length of time on it that you are. If you're making Play-Doh sculptures and you're making 3 sculptures and they're each the size of a cherry tomato, I don't think that'll cut it. But if you want to make cherry tomato sized Play-Doh sculptures and you make 50 of them, that would be awesome. Maybe that's something. You've seen those mobile device games where it's the numbers builders, where they have the little round-headed guys that walk around and multiply numbers, and then when the 2 numbers fight each other, the one with the greater number wins. Have you seen those? Really simple stick figure games, but making a screenshot of that in 3D out of Play-Doh clay. What would this mobile game look like if you had it designed 700 years ago in the Molinese Empire? That might be an interesting thing to do too. What would Minecraft look like? So it's just some things to think about. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any questions and you can't think of something that somebody else might have, then how are you guys feeling about how you're doing in the class yourselves?
Pretty good.
Good. All right, excellent. Very good. If you have any concerns or questions about this final project, give me a holler. I believe that a couple people have been already turned in their PowerPoint, and I've been putting them up on the YouTube channel and our class YouTube channel. And I will send another link out to that after I get a few more of those up, so people can go to that and look at other people's PowerPoint things. All right. Okay, folks. I look forward to talking to you next week. We're going to have one more regular meeting next Tuesday. Then after that, we'll have our finals meeting. And if people who attend that can get a couple points of extra credit.
Hey, go give it to baby.
What's that?
Sorry, talking to my kid.
No, I'm teasing you. All right, guys. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. And if you need anything, if you have any questions or anything, just give me a holler and let me know. Okay?
Sweet, thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right. We'll talk to you later.